There is the Breakfast Club for those Gen Xers like me who remember that iconic movie. And now there's the Retirement Club. I'm not sure if Molly Ringwald is showing up there, but the
I
idea
think so.
here is a way for retirees and near retirees to come together as a community to discuss things that are relevant for that particular life stage. Dale Roberts is the founder of Cut the Crap Investing, and he's also the founder of this thing called a retirement club. He joins us now to talk about it. Hello there, Dale.
Hey, Bruce, nice to see you again. Thanks for having me on.
It is my pleasure. What had you decide to found a retirement club?
You know what? That's a great question, and I would say that it's my readers that
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to found it, right. Like I started Cut the Crap Investing, and folks kept asking me, "Can you look at my portfolio? Can you look at my portfolio? Can you manage my portfolio? Just have a look." I kept saying no and no and no for years, thinking that Cut the Crap would be an online resource where typically self-directed investors will come, get the information, make up their own mind. But then I decided that chatting with them and looking at their portfolios was a good thing and probably the best way to help them. So been doing that for a couple of years, and then it just kind of just realized that most of my readers are retirees or near retirees. They love chatting about everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, we get near retirement. We're worried about doing it right. So it just kind of thought, they love to chat. Let's do a group where it's an online community where I'll do Zoom calls. The idea is Zoom call one per month, one newsletter or more. We'll have an information hub. So I'll build a community on, I think it's Mighty Networks that I'll be signing up for. And then they can all go there, share ideas, chat, get it just probably hopefully like a really, really big resource where everything by category is listed with all kinds of
Yeah.
videos, content, and they
So
have
if I
their
were if I were a fly on the wall and I joined one of these virtual meetings, they're virtual. So I'm thinking no snacks. There's no snacks. But what's the standing agenda look like?
well, you know what? It'll be 12 in year one. And typically, let's say we would start like with, what is the 4% rule? So that seems to be the main concern for people, right? Is how much money do I need and how can I make the money last for a lifetime, right? So that would be a topic where we'd go in. I would do a presentation, always ask for interruption and questions, and have another person on this Brent who will be monitoring everything, sort of the call flow, managing all the questions, just have an interaction. So there'll be a presentation, but certainly will be a flow back and forth. We'll break out into meetings where they can come back and present, go away for 15 minutes. And at the end, we'll sort of do what we call like a after party, kind of a free for all, where we just kind of get together, ask questions. Maybe they'll take the lead. Maybe I won't. Maybe Brent and I will sit back. But really, really want to make it as much of a club experience as possible, even
Yeah.
though it's online.
There is stuff out there. There are money clubs. There are events you can go to with financial advisors. Sometimes those are a little bit too much about client development, or prospecting. What do you think is different about what you're trying to do here?
Well, I think it'll be like a real community, like as much as it can be like sitting around the table and chatting with the club. Because I've been to, retirement club meetings of others that they run. So as much as it can be like that, but I think it'll be really, really content heavy as well. I'm kind of fascinated to the point where I do way too much research. As I tell them, I wake up at 4 a.m. to read this stuff so that you don't have to.
Right.
So I think, and it'll just be an assurance, like people really want to know that they're, excuse me, doing it right. So it will be content heavy for sure, but it'll be in a really friendly environment too. Like I told them all, if you want, show up in a flowery shirt, like you're going to an all-inclusive resort. I will once in a while. Brent will get a
Bring a
captain's hat
beverage
because
of
he'll be the
choice.
captain of content. So it'll be serious stuff, but in a hopefully like an enjoyable
Yeah.
environment.
Are
Some
are you
entertainment
doing this?
value.
Is this a business model? Do people pay a fee for the year? How's that work?
Yeah, there's a modest fee. So it'd be, I checked in with them again. I ask questions. I go, what do you think? I've looked at other clubs. I go, how does 250 sound? And everybody's, yeah, that sounds fair for, what we're going to get out of it. And, we'll see from there, after a year, do folks feel like, oh, I don't need to be there anymore, so I'll walk away. That's fine. But then we'll have this content resource. So that could be a part of a business model as well, where it's like, you hang around, you guys like to chat. So you're kind of retirement club one. You can stick around, maybe pay a very small fee just to keep all the resources paid for.
Right.
But again, then there's the option to add courses and stuff like that and build on it. So it's kind of stage one that folks have asked for really. Where it goes, I have some idea, but I think it's just more adding different kinds of content. And obviously, courses are a great way to do, right? But at the hub, like I really enjoy talking to readers. Like I get a great thrill out of it. They enjoy it. A lot of the folks that I've done reviews for, we're the first ones to come back and sign up for the club. Filled in quite quickly. Wanted to cap it at 30. A bunch of people came in, so we'll be 34 because again, we want to keep it as
Yeah.
club-like. And then the waiting list has, for the second one where we start, that has grown to like 70, 80,
That's
like
great.
9 year more.
Great.
So again, which is good. The response has been great. And I haven't really gone outside of my blog readership to
Yeah.
market it. So
Well, you talk about how content heavy you are. You do research lots of things. There is one thing on my agenda that I wanted to ask you about because we haven't talked about it on this show, and that is an exchange traded fund offered by Vanguard called the VRIF. So I assume that is RIF as in, what you have to convert to when you age out of an RRSP. Tell us more about that ETF.
yeah. So again, with VRIF, it's a RIF model. You don't have to use it as a RIF per se. I mean, you could actually own it in whatever you like, non-registered RSP. But the idea really is just folks want to get paid regularly. They don't, when they get to the retirement stage and as they get older, they don't want to fiddle around with the portfolios too much. So this one will just pay them out at a 4% rate, divvied up over 12 monthly payments. So it's just going to pay 4% of the portfolio value each year, and it's so that they have an income stream. It's not the complete solution. Like you wouldn't retire and go, oh, I'm going to put it all in VRIF. But for those who want a good chunk, it's going to pay out on a regular basis. It's a very conservative model at 4%. And as you know, the 4% rule typically, will pay 4 to 4.5% of the value each year and adjust for inflation. This one won't. It'll just follow the markets, which adds that level of safety. So again, if VRIF goes up 10%, the payment goes up 10%. If VRIF goes down in that year by 5%, then the payment will drop by 5%. So
it's not for sure 4%. There's no guarantee that you're going to get 4%.
Exactly right. Well, it'll be 4% of the value, but it doesn't necessarily mean it'll be, say $1 per payment this year, and it's going to be $1, and keep going up. It has dropped in a couple of years. Again, because it had a really terrible start date with a bond heavy portfolio. We ran into 2021, 2022. We're at inflation, and then the bond markets got hit, right? So kind of
how does your capital work? So with a RIF, as you pay it out to yourself, you're actually cashing in and spending that capital.
Yeah.
This sounds like there's a combination of an income producing asset underneath it. So how does that work?
Yeah, so it's just going to slice from everywhere, right? So think of it as a total return approach so you'll have the bond income within the portfolio, you'll have the dividends, and then it's going to sell shares to make up the rest, right? So if the yield of the portfolio is 2.5%, they're going to harvest 1.5% of the stocks and bonds to create the extra income. And that's fine because really it's one sort of misconception that there's safety and income from dividends, let's say, but there's no difference between a share sale and a dividend. It's all extracting value from your holding in an identical fashion. So it's a great, I've talked to lots of people that use it. It gives them, that steady income. They're going to use something else. They might have a big cash pile, or again, they might have another portfolio elsewhere, but it's just going to have that sort of bucket coming in that the transfer comes in and they see it. You could do the same pretty much with any kind of asset allocation ETF, like a 60-40, 60% stock, 40% bond. Let's say a VBAL, right? But you would just have to sell your own shares.
Right. So there we go. That would be an example of a topic you would cover in your retirement.
Exactly.
Dale, thanks for joining us to talk about these two things today. We appreciate it.
Thanks again, Bruce. Thank you.
Dale Roberts, a founder of Cut the Crap Investing. He was here to talk partly about the VRIF and an ETF that's on his radar, but also about something he's working on called the Retirement Club.